Today, I'm going to talk about Garth Walker, a South African designer who challenges the traditional ideas of what design is supposed to look like and who design is supposed to be for. Garth Walker is a graphic designer and the founder of Orange Juice Design, based in South Africa. His work is known for being raw, experimental, and often intentionally imperfect, just as his surroundings inspired him to be. His work is deeply shaped by South Africa's history, especially post-apartheid culture. It's a place layered with identities, languages, and tensions, and that complexity shows up in his designs. Walker's chaotic style isn't random. It comes from South Africa's history. After apartheid ended in the 1990s, the country entered a period of cultural redefinition instead of the clean, unified identity. There was complexity and tension, and his work reflects that by rejecting order and embracing visual disruption. South Africa has 11 official languages, and that linguistic diversity influenced Walker's typography. Instead of clear, standardized type, he distorts it and layers it, reflecting how communication in South Africa isn't always uniform or easily simplified. Western design often uses grids to create control and structure. Walker breaks those grids intentionally. In a country shaped by rigid systems like apartheid, and rejecting structure becomes his way of resisting the imposed order. His rough textures and collage-like approach references print culture and do-it-yourself methods. This connects to a history where access to the resources wasn't equal, and design often had to be made with what was often available. Walker's work often reflects emotional and social tensions rather than hiding it. Post-apartheid South Africa wasn't suddenly stable, and it still isn't to this day. It was layered with unresolved issues, and his works mirror that reality. Being labeled anti-design isn't about rejecting design completely. In fact, it's about rejecting the input that idea of Western design standards reflecting what good design is. Walker creates space for alternative approaches shaped by different histories. Movements like Swiss design were built on neutrality and universality, but those ideas come from specific European contexts. Walker rejects that neutrality, showing that design always carries cultural and historical meanings. After Nelson Mandela helped end apartheid, South Africa became known as the Rainbow Nation. Walker reinterprets this as a fruit salad society, not expanded but blended into one, but layered and distinct. His visuals reflect that complexity rather than forcing harmony. Instead of aligning with global design trends, Walker focuses on representing South African identity. This is especially important in a post-apartheid context, where reclaiming cultural voice became essential. Walker critiques how globalization pushes businesses to imitate cities like London or Hong Kong. In doing so, local identity gets erased, something especially significant in a country still rebuilding its cultural identity after apartheid. Walker sacrifices readability in order to prioritize expression in a context where voices were historically suppressed, making the work that demands attention, even if it's difficult to read, becomes a form of visibility in itself. His work can feel confusing or uncomfortable at times, but Veraction forces engagement. Instead of passively consuming design, you, the viewer, have to interpret it, mirroring how understanding culture requires effort. Imperfection in Walker's work often reflects authenticity. In contrast to polished global design, his roughness represents real conditions, lived experiences, and the rejection of artificial perfection in order for something beautiful to be made. Walker matters because he's building a visual language rooted in South Africa's post-apartheid identity. He's not adapting to the Western systems. He's creating something shaped by local history and culture for the first time in years. Design history often centers European movements like Bauhaus and Swiss design, but those reflect specific cultural values. Walker's work often shows that design is not universal and is, however, shaped by context, history, and identity. When compared to Bauhaus or Swiss design, the contrast becomes clear. Both systems often prioritize order and universality, while Walker prioritizes expression shaped by his own cultural experiences and historical contexts. Garth Walker proves that design doesn't have to erase identity in order to be effective. Instead, it can be a reflection of the complex history, culture, and lived experiences of a people, showing that design history is not singular, rather, but diverse.